Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have a diamond in the rough. I'd like you guys to meet. This here is Neil Campbell. He is a cornerback out of Indiana Wesleyan. Nice to have you today, sir.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Definitely feel like people need to get to know you. I mean, you're an All-American at least twice over, which is nice. And then also been an all-conference guy every year, I believe, since you've been there at Indiana Wesleyan. Fantastic career. So let's go ahead and get started and go ahead and introduce yourself, Neil.
Yeah, hi, my name is Neil Campbell. I'm from Chicago originally. I went to Chicago Hope Academy, small school on the west side. Yeah, I started getting recruited by IU around like 2019, my junior year of high school, by JJ Clark. He's at UTEP now, but he was my recruiting coordinator. He just recruited me the next 2 years, and it's kind of my story. I'll end up here.
Hey, well, obviously getting us there, but do want to backtrack just a little bit so that we can get the full picture of that. Attended Hope Academy in the Chicago area. But even before we get there, Neil, answer me this. How long have you played football?
I've played football since I was 10. I started 10. Baseball was probably my first sport.
So baseball, like you said, you when you were like 8, 9 or something,
I
or
started baseball like, yeah, 6 or 7, pretty young.
okay.
Mhm.
Nice. Well, I mean, obviously you've been playing now for what,
12,
14
12
years or
years.
something. I mean,
Yeah.
been playing long enough, let's
Mhm.
just say that. And so attended Hope Academy. Again, you had mentioned that was a smaller, school. And there, along with some football, I mean, I know in my notes you did a little bit of basketball and also excelled as a track athlete. Talk to me about you as a high school athlete, and maybe any fond memories you have of that time.
So yeah, high school, I remember, well, I'll start my freshman year. I remember getting recruited as a quarterback because I played quarterback in my Pee Wee league. And then I come to high school and I end up getting moved to wide receiver towards the beginning of my freshman season. And I played that all 4 years. I was a primary receiver. I hadn't played defense until I got to college. So
Interesting.
yeah, going through that transition of just playing receiver all 4 years, it was fun. And then like yeah, I got to college and we had an All-American receiver, Braden Smith, and it was like I either sit behind him or move the corner. And
So,
yeah,
talk about that experience a little bit more because, like, I don't know, like, I think you probably were recruited as a wide receiver, but then again, had to make the switch. Like, how did that switch happen?
well, I had a workout recruit once we came from our official visit. We have a workout on the field, and at the time I was with the receivers. I was recruited as a receiver. But Coach Clark, he was the D coordinator, so he was always like in my ear about like we can use you on defense. So that day I did receiver workout, then I went down and did a corners workout, just like 1-on-one with Coach Clark. And since then we had to start talking about it. And it was COVID summer, my freshman year.
Mhm.
So I got down here pretty early because I was out of school. And I started off playing both for like the first couple of days, and then we had a conversation, and I was just like, yeah, I'll probably just go with corner.
Nice. Reminds me a little of Remember the Titans. Like, I don't know if you remember like the movie where like he
Yeah.
literally goes to one of his offensive players and he's like, I need you on defense, man, because like I know you can run with this guy. Um,
Hmm.
so obviously, you get a guy like yourself who's, kind of used to being the guy who's focused on the ball and understanding route concepts and, obviously athletic enough to run with the best of them. And so I'm pretty sure your D coordinator was very happy to move you over at the time, just as in that movie. So you get to Indiana Wesleyan. Talk about that school for maybe people that aren't as familiar with it. Hype it up a little if you don't mind.
Hype it up, yeah. So Indiana Wesleyan, it's definitely a different school. I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. I was recruited by a lot of other schools, and just taking a visit here, the facilities are the nicest in the NAIA, and the coaching staff too are like really interpersonal. And I think that's what made the school different. And then that's what made me want to come here. And once I got here, the relationships that I developed with the players was probably one of the greatest things that happened. Like I got like 3 or 4 weddings coming up this summer. And it's just like you just kind of develop those relationships and they're going to be like your friends forever, like friends for life kind of thing. I think that was probably the most thing I got out of Indiana Wesleyan, honestly.
Well, hey, and if we're being real, I think that happens with a lot of people. I mean, you spend several years in college with people, and they're you're by the hip, like together, like throughout large portion of your life, even thereafter. So nice that you were attending some weddings here soon. You're going to be in like the wedding party, you somebody's best man or something.
I was supposed to be a best man this last August, but I was in training camp and I couldn't travel to North Carolina. So, but this upcoming, I'm a groomsman for like 2 of the weddings this
That's
upcoming season.
that's that's all. That's fun, dude. I
Yeah.
tease you a little bit about it, but it's all good. And I'm sure there you've also obtained at least one degree. What have you been able to do there academically?
So academically, I graduated with my undergrad in sports management in 2020, or still 2024. This last spring semester, I graduated. So this time around the fall, I started my master's, and I'm in a accelerated master's program for my MPA. So I'll be done in May with that. And yeah, I do like the academics here. They help me a lot, help me excel.
Well, that sounds good. Obviously attended Indiana Wesleyan for a while there. What was the hardest class you think you had to take there?
The hardest class was probably World Lit. I had a good professor, but like just the coursework and assignments were really greedy. So
So you're not a big world lit guy. So that's basically what we're trying to say, right?
yeah, probably not.
That's fair for a guy who's mainly focused on sports, game of football, trying to get yourself healthy and out there and playing ball and executing things that the way that you've done. I get it. It's
Yeah,
okay. You don't
yeah.
need to be proficient in every damn thing you do. But obviously, it was something that you passed, so it's
Yeah,
kind of
it was a gen ed. I had to.
gotcha. So uh, let's talk some more. Let's actually talk some football. So again, very dominant, career for you. Again, like I had mentioned, being an all-conference athlete several times over. Let's focus on that defense, maybe the people around you, and how your coordinators used you throughout your time there. Can you talk a little bit about your overall experience there in the secondary?
Yeah, so my freshman sophomore year, I played all field corner because we had I don't know, Juice Johnson. I don't know if you remember him, but he was an All-American corner before me. And he was kind of like my mentor at the position where he taught me a lot. I learned a lot from the coaches, but the guy that's playing the same position teaches you a lot more kind of thing. So I learned a lot from him. And then freshman, sophomore year, I played to the field. Junior year, I moved to the boundary, which is like the short side. So I was able to be in run fits more, and spill blocks and things like that, and blitz more. I was more in like the run game, I would say. And that year, this 2022 year, yeah, my junior year, my true junior year, I played a little nickel slash safety, where I would go. Mostly in man-to-man calls. We had a good safety, good corner, bring in an extra corner, and I would go guard the slot in man-to-man. I made a couple good plays from that and blitzed off the edge. And then this last year, yeah, I was using the run fit a lot too. So
Yeah, and even kind of sharing a little bit more about yourself as how you were used overall on that team. I know maybe not this year, but the previous season they had you as the main return specialist as well.
mm,
So certainly, utilized there. And so pretty good special teams guy we're looking at. I don't know if I don't know, maybe you were used overall, like in other spots throughout your time, other than return specialist. Do you have like another spot there on special teams that you like?
I like this year I went at gunner a lot for punt return. I wasn't a returner, but I was blocking for him,
Hmm.
and I kind of like being physical in that point of time. I
Nice.
also rushed. I came off the edge a lot. I blocked the extra point in one of the, I think it was Southwestern, the first playoff game. But that was like my main role on field goal block was to come off the edge and try to get up.
People don't block kicks too often, man. So when you get them, you got to be proud of them. So
Yeah, no, I
uh,
was.
love that. So growing up in Chicago, I don't know if maybe there was a guy who you were looking up to at that particular time. He was probably a wide receiver. I don't know who it was for you, but I mean, when you maybe look at guys these days playing the position that you're currently playing, are there guys who you're trying to study at the next level so that you can try to, get the most out of their game or what? Like, who are your favorites in the league right now?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much I'm a really big Bears fan. I'm from Chicago, but so my favorite two guys that I look at now is Kyler Gordon and Tariq Stevenson. I like Jalen Johnson too, but I just feel like my game is more similar to like a Kyler Gordon or Stevenson and the one from the Kenny Moore. I like Kenny Moore too from the Coast. So those probably like my group of three guys right there that I look at a lot.
So, Chicago Bears guy, I know things aren't going exactly the way you want right now.
Yeah.
Might take a little bit of time. I don't know.
Mhm.
We'll get there, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't know it, who else you would talk about there. Obviously, when I think of some of the greats that have come out of Chicago, I think of guys like Devin Hester.
Hmm.
I don't know. Obviously, played corner wide receiver in college. Came in as like a corner and eventually moved to the offensive side of things. So um, a little bit of a reverse, I guess,
Yeah.
when we're looking at a guy like yourself. But Neil, I do think that you offer a lot as a prospect this season. Um, Talk to me about what you feel separates you perhaps from other people that play your position.
What I feel separates me is probably my IQ, I would say. I think I've over the years I've gotten like really smart at football and just picking up on splits and picking up on certain formations and when they like to take shots or things like that. The other thing that separates, I think I'm pretty versatile as well. I think I can move to the slot and get in a run fit or have some like QB rushes and then also play man to man really well. It's not, yeah, I just think I have a good understanding of football intelligence. I think that's probably
So,
the main.
so what do you feel people might, I don't know, maybe what do you think people sleep on the most about your game? Like, is it, uh, I don't know I don't know how you would answer that question. What do you think people just don't give you as much respect for that you're good at?
I would say probably tackling. I think I like to tackle a lot. So
Hey,
for playing corner, you don't get that many opportunities to come and be in the run fit. So
yeah, I mean, not too much. I mean, for a guy like you, I mean, we're looking at a fantastic playmaker who's obviously covering the number one guy like all the time, and you've done very well for yourself in your career. Notched 16 career interceptions, which is something certainly to be proud about. Um, Neil, you have a lot of accolades to your credit. We're looking at All-American, a lot of great statistics for you as well. Of everything that you've accomplished there at Indiana Wesleyan, what are you most proud of?
um, football wise or just in general.
Uh, we can do a little bit of both. So just go ahead and answer the question, and we'll go from there.
I think the thing I'm most proud of is just being able to leave like a legacy or impact on the younger guys. Just coming up and being able to pour into people under me and actually seeing it come to fruition and just seeing them grow up. It's kind of, I mean, I've been here 5 seasons, so that's probably the most thing I'm proud about football wise. And then obviously getting my degree is probably. like the most thing I'm happy about because that'll last my whole life. So
I mean, I'm pretty sure for seasons to come, people are going to be talking. You remember when Neil Campbell was here, man? Like he
mhm.
absolutely dominated the competition there, did well for himself, and hopefully, when we look back on this thing 5 years from now, you're playing professionally somewhere,
Yeah.
which
hmm
obviously fun. Um, Indiana Wesleyan pretty doing pretty well for themselves over the past several seasons. I mean, looking at the record that you guys have been able to put together, which has been really great. I mean, we are looking at one of the premier teams out of the NAIA, who over the past few seasons always in the playoffs, always in the running for a championship. So even this past season, man, I mean, you only had two losses. One was against a Division One opponent
hmm
in Valpo,
Yeah.
who you beat the previous season. Talk about some of the highs and lows of your career, man. Got a whole lot of highs, man. Talk a
Yeah.
little bit about some of these games you've been a part of.
Um, let's see what game I want to start with. I think the first game I started was in 2022 against Taylor. It's like a rivalry game with Taylor, so the stands is always packed. And I think I just I had like two interceptions that game, like a forced fumble. It's probably one of the better games of my career. And we got to do it with I got to do it with some of like my best friends. The other corner is one of my best friends, then the safety that was playing behind me at that point too was also one of my best friends. And that was probably one of the highs. Um, a funny story. It's probably not a in-game story, but we had a good game against Olivet this past season, and we were driving back and our bus broke down. And so we had to get on the offensive bus and I had to stand up in the middle of the bus for like 3 hours just on the way back home. But just looking back on it, that probably was one of the funnest rides home ever. After the game, we was watching. I think Taylor was playing Mary in that game. We all watched that game together, and I don't know, the bus was kind of packed. So that's probably one of my highs, like of my career, I guess, where I'm like look back and see that.
Well, it's kind of fun. I mean, obviously you
Yeah.
get these games where you do make some great plays, but I mean, yeah, I mean a lot of the off the field stuff,
Yeah.
certainly have a lot of memories there. Um, some good teammates along the way, of course. Uh, who there at Indiana Wesleyan has really been the most impressive for you, and who are some of the guys coming up in that program we need to know?
So you saying some of the guys that's most impressive that's under me that's still here?
Yeah, like I'm just saying overall, and the guys are still there.
So overall, when I first got here, I was most impressed by Braden Smith. He was the All-American wide receiver. Then after him, it was probably Juice Johnson, which was the All-American corner who kind of mentored me throughout my whole career. And then Donovan Shelton, he was a safety who went off for like 8 picks one year while I was here. So those are like three of the most probably impactful guys that was before me. Still here, Vance Shepard, he played corner this year. He was the other starting corner. I think he's going into his like redshirt sophomore year right now. But just seeing him I was kind of like the mentor guy for him, and seeing him grow up and he just matured a lot as a player mentally this year. And just seeing that I'm kind of proud of him. Can't wait to see what he does next year.
Nice. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens, man. Again, your team's always been on the cusp of winning a
hmm
national championship. So, I mean, maybe next year that's something that we'll be able to see.
Yeah.
So, I
hmm
guess something to look forward to for the people who follow Indiana Wesleyan. Um, a lot of people who have really poured into you over the years. I mean, again, teammates, coaches, and maybe some people outside of football. Talk about some of the people who have been the most influential for you. Again, whether it be from the team or elsewhere.
Um, I'll say the most influential person on my life is probably well not probably it's definitely my dad. He raised me I'm the youngest of six, so he raised all six of us. Um, and he was my coach from like 10 to like 13 years old until I went to high school. So he kind of was the first person to instill like the discipline and hard work and putting academics first, like all that. He was the first person to instill that in me, and I was able to go to high school and keep the same discipline and then carry it on to college, which helped me have this a successful career. Um, he was probably the most influential person in my life, and then Coach Clark, the DC. So I told you I like switched from receiver, so I knew no technique at corner when I first came here, and he was the guy that taught me short pressure, long pressure, off man, soft, just a lot of different techniques to have in my bag, and he was really smart with helping me understand the game more. Because when I first got here, or you first moved to the other side of the ball, everything happened so fast, and then by the end of my second year with him, it kind of started the game started to slow down, and I think that was a big attribute to him. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously putting you in a position where you did very, great overall in your career. Very prolific. Again, All-American, walking away an All-American twice over, walking away with 16 career interceptions, and a whole lot of great memories there for sure. Want to meet the guy under the helmet, if you don't mind. Talk a little bit about yourself. Any interesting fun facts, or hobbies or interests or special talents or anything you got to share about yourself, man. Talk to me about something else for just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know about any special talents outside of football and school. I'm really good at academics too. I guess I'll say that. But um, I guess I'm an interesting part is about me is I like nature. Like when I'm bored or I have some downtime, I could go outside and take a walk. We got in Marion, Indiana, we got a really beautiful park. It's called Matter Park. So just going there, taking a walk, clear my mind. Yeah, just getting in touch with nature, probably taking my shoes off, grounding myself, that kind of thing. um, so that's probably one of the things. And other than that, I just like to hang out with the family. I like to grill a lot. My dad kind of passed me the torch with grilling. Now, when I go home, I can hop on the grill for the family, and that's it's probably one of my favorite things to do too. And with the guys out here as well, I'm the griller, I guess.
Well, hey, it's nice that people have given you that responsibility
Right.
as the grill man. Um, want to see if maybe I can get a couple other things out of you again, just for fun. So none of this is all that important, but I mean, this is just the kind of short question answer period. Um, let's see now. Favorite snack food?
Favorite snack, Nutter Butters. You know the
Nut.
like little peanut butter crackers?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. So put those things in some ice cream and we're set.
Yeah,
So
vanilla ice cream, good.
I, I love that. Let's say here. Let's see. Favorite superhero? I don't know if you're a big movie guy.
I am a big Marvel guy. This is kind of a hard question. Um, Shoot, I have to go with Captain America.
All
Probably
right,
my
nothing wrong there.
yeah.
Interesting way the you know the whole Marvel verse is heading right now. I mean, I don't know how people are feeling about these upcoming
I'm,
ones yet or
I'm
not.
like I'm more of an old Marvel guy. Like the new Marvel, I don't really keep up with it too much. But like the
It,
Avengers, that era, all that was
it,
yeah.
it gets hard these days at times, especially when you have like all these shows, on the network. So,
Yeah,
um, let's say, I don't know if you did this during your time there in school, but I mean, it's karaoke night, and Neil, it's your turn to get up there and sing a little something.
yeah.
First of all, do you fancy yourself a singer? And second of all, is there a particular song that would be your go-to?
I don't fancy myself a singer, but I love karaoke. I'll say that, but it's probably just not good. But I'll do Morgan Wallen. I'm trying to think what specific song. Probably 865 by Morgan Wallen or this bar. Those are probably my two go-tos.
Some country thing going
Yeah,
on there, obviously with Morgan.
I've been
Um,
beyond the last 5 years is all I listen
that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. You gotta, be comfortable with what you can do, of course.
Yeah.
Let's say here, growing up, obviously one of six kids, man. I know sometimes it's hard for you to, you know, get your own time and doing stuff.
Mhm.
When you were a little kid and maybe you were fighting over time for the television, what was that one cartoon that you loved to watch?
Dragon Ball Z. That probably was the show me and my brother used to try to. I got four sisters, so they usually always had the TV though, but never had.
Okay, okay. Are you still into that sort of thing now, or no?
Nah, recently, a TV show that's kind of like Dragon Ball Z that I watched is Avatar: Last Airbender, but I've watched the three seasons that they have like way too many times. So
Have you watched their show on Netflix? Man, that stuff isn't too bad.
yeah, yeah, I have.
It's much better than the movie that never happened.
Yeah,
So,
hmm
um,
yeah,
if you understand my meaning there, um, well, hey Neil, it's been fun getting to know you. Obviously, we're talking together under the platform of a guy who wants to make it to the next level, wants to get his opportunity in the NFL. And so, as we close up our time, just want to have your last words. I mean, as to, maybe what you got to tell some doubters out there about this guy from Indiana Wesleyan and why they should take a chance on you. So, go ahead and close with your thoughts and your pitch for all those teams out there. Go.
yeah. I guess for all the teams, I'll just tell them that I'm going to come there wherever I go. I'm going to work hard. I'm willing to learn. I'm humble enough to like learn from the guys around me as well. I think I pick up on football intelligence well, and I mean, I showed through my career here that I could play at a high level, and I just think that um, having bringing that type of confidence, that I'll bring that type of confidence, knowing that I like belong wherever I end up. I think that's why guys will be excited to have me. I'll be excited to be there as well. So I won't take it for granted.
Yeah, and even though he grew up a Bears fan, he's willing to, play for anybody. Let's just kind
I'll,
of, throw that out there. So,
yeah, I'll play for any 32 teams.
no, I got you. Well, Neil, want to wish you very best of luck in this process. I mean, obviously, very great career there, very prolific. Great playmaker. Been able to showcase that throughout your career, and just want to wish you all the best. Okay.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure. Once again, I got with me Neil Campbell, a cornerback out of Indiana Wesleyan. Check him out.